because that's the theme. But it's non-fiction, so I'll end with some poems from my upcoming pamphlet. It's kind of both sides of the thing. So it's called Thriftwood, and it was published at the very end of last year. She sits by the fire, all limbs and frantic, silly energy, and holds his hand. She will regret this moment 1,000,000 times over. When she looks back, she will wonder how she didn't spot it, the world shifting around her, the earth groaning from her entrails, her own private fall, a name with a serpent's hiss and a cocky grin, and how, with all of his attention focused on you, you could melt. That's why. Who has time for omens, for foresight, when those eyes? The woods take on a charge they never had before. Every tree is alive with it. She wants to kiss him. She has barely kissed anyone before. Ben, yes, and a boy on a campsite holiday in France who wouldn't leave her alone afterwards. They made out in the French showers, and he left her disgusted and frightened, but this boy. She thinks briefly of Lucy, touching the wound, seeing how it feels in this company. It feels like a betrayal, which is ridiculous, but still the memory pangs. Maybe it always does, thinking of the first person who makes you so aware of the movement of your body. She came expecting a week of shattered glass softness, pretending never to see her, bones on edge, and then she did not come, although she had promised weeks ago in passing, thoughtless words that caused a vibration that came here to its juddering close. He bats her words away, reveals them to be the insubstantial dust they always were. She feels guilty for having cared so very much. The trees groan. She feels like an adult. She recognizes these moans and misinterprets them. She holds his hand. The woods are crying, screaming, pleading. From the future, telling the story, I close my eyes in resignation. What happens to your love for someone when they do something wrong? It becomes both true and untrue. That line of Anne Carson's, "You remember too much," my mother said to me recently. Why hold on to all of that? And I said, where can I put it down? Blurs into Cordelia in Brighthead Revisited, who has no past tense of the verb to love. God, but that feels like an accusation. To love always in the present like Cordelia is a kind of trauma. In the same way that PTSD arrives when you fail to adequately process a traumatic event, loving someone who is abusive or cruel freezes your love. It makes a mockery of it. Because you cannot stop loving them on demand, even if you want to. Not even if you know you should. First, you must reconcile the fact that the person you love did something terrible whilst you love them, and despite the fact that you love them. Only then can you learn where to put that love down, how to write it into the past tense. You must learn that even if your relationship was abusive, even if you were lied to so that what you thought was real never existed, your love itself was not bad. What I mean is, loving people is not bad. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, it's okay for me to say, I loved him, and to no longer love him. If you believe that conditional love, love that ends, is somehow fake, that's when you can never put it down. For years, I thought that if I stopped loving him, it would mean that I never loved him at all, but I was lying whenever I promised myself and him that I would love him forever. What I mean is, I've gone back to the scene by the fire for years and years and years, begging myself not to take his hand, but that was just another way of keeping the love alive. I no longer wish I hadn't done it. What good would it do? So yes, I loved him. I won't deny that anymore. I won't pretend to rewrite it. And then these poems are from my upcoming pamphlet with 9 Pens Press, which is called How to Decode Your Orange Peel Fortunes. I'm very bad at titles, so I'm very pleased with that one. This is Orange Peel Fortune Reader. Takes your discarded snakeskin, silently weighs the pith in her hand. You think of Anubis guarding the underworld. If your heart is heavier than a feather, Amit devours it. The goddess of lion, hippopotamus, and crocodile, how could she not be starving? Your sin is menial, but she sees it in the way you treat the fruit. Eat up, she says eventually, with the voice of one who knows the future, and you bite down, burst of fragrant juice. This poem is called Rewatching Life on Mars, which I did in lockdown and highly recommend. I'm rewatching Life on Mars, the story of a man mad, dying, or back in time, and we're supposed to wonder which. Does it matter? He wakes up in a world not his own, and when he tries to point that out, no one understands. Hey, Sam Tyler, we've all been there, cast adrift in shirts that don't feel right and a violence you can't control, in desperate search for meaning. It's right there, Sam, I think, like God. I know what's coming. Spoiler, you wake up alive and choose to splinter back. A man who'd rather live in his dreams, who'd rather jump off the building and die out of the future, who'd rather hope he might open his eyes again. And you do. You die for joy with joy. And what you wanted was there all along. What meaning am I meant to take from that? There's no answer in TV. It's not my leap, Sam. When I die, I don't wake up. And finally, since we're in the area, this is called An Open Letter to a Road Cleaner. Walking down Mile End Road, I met a dead fox, blood beaded, radiant still. Having never seen a fox so close, alive or not, I stopped. I had the overwhelming desire to pick it up, guts spilled, to drape it round my neck and let it red stain me instead of the concrete, which I knew wouldn't remember. A city wears death so lightly. What is one more creature car-struck? But I left foxless. It was gone next time I passed. Imagined, maybe. Someone had taken it away. I don't know whose job that is. Thank you.